Tensions in the South China Sea have once again reached dangerous heights. A reckless move by a Chinese warship set the stage, an enormous vessel bearing down on a small Philippine patrol boat, chasing it through disputed waters. Newly surfaced footage even captured a shocking scene. A Chinese Coast Guard ship colliding with one of its own warships during the pursuit of Philippine vessels. It was an accident born of aggression, but it symbolized something far larger. Behind the headlines and chaotic confrontations, a quieter yet far more consequential story is unfolding. The Philippines and the United States are sealing deals and building strategies that could fundamentally reshape the balance of power in Asia. At the heart of this story lies a place steeped in history, Subic Bay. Once home to the United States' largest naval base in Asia, Subic has long carried the weight of geopolitics. Now, decades later, it is stirring back to life. On its shores, construction is quietly underway. A new military complex is emerging, projected to become the biggest naval base in the entire Philippines. Yet the plans extend beyond Subic. The U.S. is preparing to develop a northern port and gain access to 4 additional bases spread across the archipelago. These developments are not simply about steel, concrete, or warships. They represent a new national identity taking shape. For decades, the Philippines was viewed as small and strategically dependent, often overshadowed by the weight of larger powers. That perception is changing. Today, Manila is stepping into a role too significant for the world to dismiss. Subic Bay, with its turbulent past and uncertain future, tells the story best. It was once the front line during the Cold War, a hub buzzing with American carriers, submarines, and aircraft. Then, in the 1990s, it fell silent after U.S. withdrawal. Now it roars back to life at a moment when tensions in the South China Sea are at their highest in decades. Just a week ago, disputes between China and the Philippines played out as rhetoric. This week, they are collisions at sea. With each passing day, the stakes climb higher. And at the center of it all, the Philippines is laying the groundwork for a future in which its choices could tilt Asia's balance of power. In Nabasan, a massive naval station is taking shape. On the islands of Grande and Chiquita, lands are being converted for military use. Across the archipelago, old ports are being upgraded to birth the warships of a new century. The timing is no accident. The South China Sea is far more than a territorial dispute. It is a lifeline. Nearly a third of the world's trade sails through its waters. Beneath its seabed lie energy reserves powerful enough to sustain nations for decades. And for millions of Filipinos, these waters mean livelihood, heritage, and survival. To lose control is unthinkable. The new base is more than an installation of concrete, steel, and runways. It is a shield, a statement, a gamble on the nation's future. The world is beginning to take notice. This film uncovers why the Philippines is rebuilding Subic Bay into a military powerhouse, what this means for Asia's balance of power, and why China views it as a looming challenge. But Subic Bay is not just about geopolitics. It is a living history. For centuries, it has been more than just a stretch of water and coastline. Spanish explorers in the 16th century recognized its worth and declared it a prime naval outpost. Its deep waters sheltered ships, while its location placed it directly on the Pacific's critical trade routes. By the 20th century, the United States transformed Subic into one of its largest overseas bases, projecting dominance throughout Asia. During the Cold War, tens of thousands of Americans lived and worked there. Aircraft carriers, submarines, and fleets flowed in and out, making it one of the busiest naval stations outside the U.S. mainland. But in 1992, everything changed. Nearly a century of American control ended as Subic was handed back to the Philippines. Overnight, its bustling streets and ports went silent. Many believed the era of Subic as a strategic stronghold had closed forever. They were wrong. Today, Subic is being reborn with renewed urgency. The Philippines is reviving it as a cornerstone of its defense strategy. China's expanding presence in the West Philippine Sea has forced Manila to prepare as never before. Subic's location, astride contested waters and facing global shipping lanes, makes it priceless. Whoever holds Subic holds an edge in both trade and defense. The Philippine Navy is reclaiming its ground. Docks that once served American warships are being refurbished for Philippine frigates and submarines. Old airfields are being modernized for surveillance aircraft and could soon host fighter jets. Subic is once again becoming a shield, this time for Filipinos themselves. Yet the visible construction only tells part of the story. Officials describe the upgrades as routine modernization. Analysts believe something much larger is unfolding. Satellite imagery shows restricted zones near old U.S. bunkers. Documents suggest storage for advanced missiles, radars, and possibly Allied access under the Mutual Defense Treaty. Quiet diplomatic whispers point to future cooperation with Japan and Australia. If true, Subic is evolving from a national stronghold into a multinational fortress, layered, resilient, and ready to play a decisive role in any regional conflict. No story of Subic is complete without America. For nearly a century, the Bay was Washington's strongest bastion in Asia, central to the Vietnam War and the Cold War. Even after closure, U.S. ships continued to visit for resupply and training. Now, under the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, Subic is once again in the spotlight. American contractors are quietly assisting in construction. U.S. ships are expected to dock more frequently, not only for exercises but potentially for rapid deployments into the South China Sea. For Washington, Subic is a forward edge in countering China. For Manila, it is reassurance that it does not face these waters alone. Economically, Subic is also vital. Its harbor ranks among the deepest in the world, able to host massive ships and submarines. After 1992, it was reborn as a free port, drawing foreign investors and creating thousands of jobs. Today, its dual identity is even sharper: commerce in peace, defense in crisis. Whoever commands Subic commands one of Asia's busiest crossroads. For Manila, strengthening Subic secures both prosperity and sovereignty. Beijing, however, views its revival as a direct threat. Chinese state media denounce every announcement, calling it a provocation. Chinese patrols shadow Philippine vessels more aggressively each time Manila upgrades its defenses. Subic has become defiance incarnate. This has spurred Manila to embark on one of its most ambitious military modernization programs in decades. Billions of pesos are flowing into frigates, jets, submarines, and coastal defenses, with Subic at the center. For the first time in generations, the Philippines is building capacity to stand on its own. For many Filipinos, this is a source of pride. Older generations recall when Subic served as their shield. To them, its revival is history repeating itself with newfound strength. Others worry about becoming entangled in superpower rivalries. Yet hope outweighs fear. Subic promises jobs, investment, and dignity. Beyond strategy and geopolitics lies the human story. For ordinary citizens, Subic Bay symbolizes protection and possibility. From coastal communities to shipyards, people sense history taking shape. They know that when the first warships arrive, the world will watch. Some will see a small nation stepping boldly into history. Others will see a gamble with global stakes. For Filipinos, however, it will be proof that their country is no longer a bystander in its own story. Subic Bay will endure as a living reminder that no matter the adversity, the Philippines has the will to rise, rebuild, and claim its rightful place. This transformation is not just about ships and bases, it is about identity. For allies, Subic is a dependable partner in maintaining stability. For rivals, it is a warning. For Filipinos, it is hope. Hope for safety, hope for respect, hope for a future where the Philippines can stand tall. As this chapter unfolds, the real question is not whether Subic Bay will succeed. It is how far its influence will stretch. What begins here could shape the balance of power across the Asia-Pacific for decades. If this journey into Subic Bay's resurgence gave you insight, don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories on the Philippines' evolving role in global affairs. The story of the Philippines is still being written, and Subic Bay is only the beginning.